So I just recorded a bit and the sound didn't get added. That's why I tend to do shorter, like bits, and then save it and then cut off. Thankfully, I only did one card and I didn't do a long reading. But basically, I want to do a reading for the Divine Feminine and pull a few different cards to say, how does the universe see you? What does the universe see that you're doing right? And then pull a couple of different cards on what you need to work on and other questions that I think of. So the first card that came up was Your Life is a Canvas. And it says artist, manifestations, creative accountability. So you literally could be an actual artist, sculptor, painter, writer, director, producer, anything where you're using your imagination to create, builder, anything, architect. Like you could be doing something that uses your creative abilities to add value to this world, to share a message, to even a content creator, to raise the collective's frequency. And through you take creative accountability. So when you create something, there's a bigger meaning behind what you create. And those creative things that help others trickle out, and it builds good karma for you. Like you are literally, through your creativity, you're being service to this world. And you've probably been manifesting things for a long time, and your manifestations, some of them have come true. And in your life, throughout your life, your manifestations have come true because of the frequency that you're on. And the creator, like, because this one has come out a lot in the past, right? For the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine. But I think the universe sees that you see your life as a canvas. Now you finally realize that you create your own reality. You're not a product of your environment. You're not forced into your circumstances. Yeah, you may be dealing with some difficult circumstances, or you have been dealing with some difficult circumstances, or you're in hermit mode or isolation, and you've chosen to overcome those difficult circumstances and put yourself in a better place where you might be isolated in hermit mode still, but at least you're in a place where where was a manifestation of a reality that you wanted previously, right? You could have moved locations, you could have moved into a new apartment, moved into a new city, like anything you could have done. But you are starting to see that your life is a canvas. So whatever you want to do in this life, you can create. And it's all about raising your frequency, taking care of yourself, doing the shadow work, gaining self-love, and that's what gets you to a place where your manifestations start trickling in. So the universe also wants you to know that, hey, don't worry, you might go teeter-totter between anger, frustration, resentment, repression, to gratitude, love, tenderness, but just try to stay on the consistent path of love and tenderness, and instead of staying in the state of anger and resentment, because your manifestations are coming true. And when you don't stay in that mindset, you block your manifestations. They take longer to come in. They'll come in, but you need to get out of that state of mind and be consistent with love and gratitude for it to come in. Or else it'll just keep delay until you learn that lesson of letting go of these negative emotions. So this one is Lost Lands. That's the next card. And this picture just reminds me of like the lost cities, right? Like I've been learning a lot about ancient civilizations and ancient cultures, and there's so many major events that have happened that have wiped out civilizations, the Great Flood, things like that. And these are lost lands that a lot of the texts, everything from that civilization have just been either buried underwater or completely just vanished almost. So, yeah, the lost lands, right? So ancient civilizations, stuff like that, cities have vanquished. So this says, soul memories and gifts, you've done this before. So we have past lives. If you don't believe that, this is my truth. I believe that we have past life, that our soul is everlasting, and that we've experienced many lives on this planet and other planets as well. So your soul, even though your memories are wiped when you come in here, because we don't remember anything from a past life, so clearly our memories have to have been wiped, your soul remembers everything. Your soul, it's like the observer. The observer records and observes everything. That's the oversoul, that's source, that's the universe. It's observing everything and recording everything. So your soul, which is part of the oversoul, That's a new term that I learned from this other guy, Jason Arcanic, and he calls it the oversoul, and it's just been getting in my vocabulary, and I've been calling it that too, but I usually use source, right? Source of the universe. And it's observing and recording everything, and we're a part of that. So our soul is recording and observing everything too. That's why we have two minds, basically, the monkey brain and the observing mind. So we can have a thought, and then we're observing that thought because it's part of creation. Who is observing that thought? So creation is experiencing itself through observing the actions that we do, right? So that's why whenever we're thinking of something, we have to observe that thought and analyze it and say, like, what does this really mean? So that's my little rant, but there's probably a reason why I need to say that. So your soul remembers things, and by you taking time and spending time in silence and grounding in nature and getting by the water and clearing your mind, releasing the stress and the repressed emotions that either you haven't been dealing with or that you're slowly working through, you're able to tap into those gifts that exist within your soul. We all have a purpose that we've been doing for lifetimes, and sometimes the purpose changes, but there's usually one thing that we always have that is, we could be doing it in other areas. Like, for example, let me just say that, because I'm like, that sounds like all over the place, but if you're a healer, let's say, right? You can heal people through your words, through communication. You could heal people through medicine that you give them. You could heal people through massages, right? Like, you could heal people through body work, right? You could heal people through, what other avenues could you heal people? Through chiropractor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many avenues that you could have been a healer in your previous life, but your premise was always to heal, right? It doesn't mean that every lifetime you come back as a doctor, in whatever, herbalist or whatever. No, you come back as a person that's meant to heal through different mediums. Or you come back as the same medium, but in different eras, they are considered. Like, for example, if you have strong communication skills, that means in lifetimes you've always had, your voice was always something that was powerful to heal others. So either you worked in a place where you were a therapist, either you worked in a place where you were a public speaker, healing people, motivational speaker, working with youth, addiction counselor. Like, your voice was your strength, right? So you were a healer, but your voice was your strength. So every lifetime you came back and you used your voice to heal others. So this is why it's so important to spend time in isolation, which you have been doing, Divine Feminine, and the universe sees that you've been going on this journey for probably a year or more of really owning in on your gifts and figuring out what your gifts are and tapping into your soul memories. Like, you've done this before, and you're realizing that, like, I've done this before. You've probably had lots of deja vu moments in the last year being like, I already experienced this before. This already happened before. Or I've already done this where I've used my voice to heal other people. So the universe sees that you see yourself, that you see your soul remembers. You're recognizing that my soul remembers, and now you're starting to tap into your gifts. So the next card that came out was Wait. And you've probably been hearing this nonstop, so you're probably annoyed even me saying this right now, the wait and being patient, and you've probably seen lots of tarot readers that keep telling you the same thing. It's not yet time. Things are being woven. So just like your soul gifts, just like your life is a canvas, your reality, your manifestation, it's not yet time for the bigger manifestations to come in. It's not yet time for the next level. Hold on for a second. So it's like when I was talking about the tenderness and about love and wavering between, like, what I just said a few minutes ago. Like, I was just watching a tarot reading, and Naked Moon, she's a really good tarot reader. Like, you should check her out. Just real, authentic. Like, I like her. I like her style, and that's who I relate to. And she was saying that how, like, the consistency of being in a state where when you're frustrated and overwhelmed, you get into that state where you're resentful and repressing emotion. But when you get out of that state, you get back to your love and tenderness and gratitude, right? But the whole point is to stay on that path of when be consistent with gratitude, love, tenderness, because I I said, like, your manifestations will come through by you being consistent on that. But the point is that the reason why you need to wait more is because things are being woven and you're being woven. There's still stuff that you need to purge and release, and that's why you probably have confusion that, oh, like, I'm doing all this work, I'm going on this path, I'm doing the healing work, doing self-reflection, taking care of myself, but yet you still fall back into an old pattern where you get overwhelmed and frustrated, and then that creates anger and resentment, right? But you're aware of it, and then that leads to confusion with you, so you're like, what's happening? But that's why still you need to be more patient. So when you think you're ready that for the next step, pay attention to your actions and how you're feeling, and are you consistently stable day in, day out? Are you consistently, like, able to deal with your emotions and not teeter-totter between anger and frustration and overwhelmed, and really just sit in a place of love and gratitude, that even when things are stressful, you can still come back to a place of love and gratitude instead of staying in a place where you feel resentful and angry and are repressing emotions because you're like, I can't deal with this, right? So that's why the universe is saying wait, because things are still being woven in the background. Your manifestations are still being woven because they're big manifestations probably, so they take time, and other people the universe has to set up to get them in that mindset so they can make things happen. And also you're being woven. You are becoming the person that you always wanted to be. Your highest timeline, your highest self is already at that place, but you are becoming that. And by you consistently doing the work, you'll get to that place. And another thing that she said, she pulled an animal card, and it was like that, oh, the snail, and it says, take your time, don't rush, baby steps. Like, you don't need to go through this process speedy. Everything will work out. Just take your time, slow and steady, and you'll get that. And so that's why the universe probably keeps sending you this message. It's not time yet. Wait. And it's probably annoying you because of the fact that you feel that you're ready, right? But the universe sees that you've been waiting and you haven't been giving up. That's the most important thing. Yeah, you may get frustrated and angry like what I said, but you haven't given up, and that's the most important thing, that you haven't given up. So the universe sees that you are waiting, but you need to keep waiting because things are not ready yet. It might be a year that you've been on this journey or longer, but it's still not ready yet because things take time to build within you. Your programming that you've had from 3-4 years old takes time to get yourself out of that programming. So the next question I asked is, what does the Divine Feminine still need to work on? And the first thing that came out was inspiration. And it says, be prepared, as you'll soon receive a visit from the Fairy of Inspiration. Come dusk or dawn, she can call at any time. So you've probably been going through a funk lately. Like, I know I was going through the same thing, and I had to force myself to record a message, and that helped get me out of the funk. And the last 3 days I've been doing messages because I've gotten myself out of that funk for now. Hopefully I don't fall back into it. That's why it's about being consistent with love, gratitude, and the things I mentioned, because when we get back into that state where we're feeling sorry for ourselves and we feel unsure and we're not sure, no, that's Louise, baby. When we get to that place where we feel unsure and lost, that's when we start to lose our inspiration, right? So what's happening is that either now or within the next few days or recently, you got back into that state of Luigi, baby. You got back, uh-oh, baby. Hold on. So yeah, either now or in the next few days or just recently, you're getting your inspiration back. You're getting out of this funk and you're starting to lead with your passion again. You know, you've been on this journey for probably a year or more where you've been leading with inspiration, taking aligned action on what the Creator tells you to do towards your passion and other areas of your life. So what you need to work on is being consistent with that inspiration. Even when you don't feel inspired, choose to act unless your body's telling you to rest. If your body's telling you to rest, then take that moment to rest, right? If you're feeling exhausted and tired, rest. But if it's just that you're feeling stuck and lost and you're getting consumed with your thoughts, and it's all about emotion, then still choose to act when you're feeling that way. Even if you're recording a video and your video comes out emotional, so what? Maybe that emotion was meant to be shared with the collective. So just work on, even when you don't feel inspired, take a line.